Hello, this is Sudhir Kumar Devedi, Assistant Professor of Law from Zemtech School of Law, Greater Noida. The topic for today's lecture is Notice of Suit under Section 80 of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 under the subject Drafting, Pleading and Conveyancing. Under this lecture, we will try to understand what is the requirement of Section 80 and what is the structure of the notice. So let's first of all let's see what is the section 80. Section 80 of the Code of Civil Procedure provides that no suit shall be instituted against the government or against a public officer in respect of any act purporting to be done by such public officer in his official capacity until the expiration of 2 months next after the notice in writing has been delivered. So if we analyze the section 80 of the CPC, then we find that such notice is required when a person wants to file a suit against a government or a public officer, and such suit is in respect of an act which has been done by that public officer while he was discharging his official duty. It means to say, in his official capacity. Then it is the requirement of Section 80 that before filing this suit, a notice regarding that must be issued. That is the requirement. So, what is the nature of Section 80? Section 80 contains a rules of procedure and makes it mandatory to serve a notice before the institution of a suit against the government or against the public officer. So it is mandatory that a notice must be issued. Then this section, you can say, describe two types of the cases. One is the suit against the government and another is the suit against the public officer in respect of acts done or purporting to be done by such public officer in their official capacity. And what is the object behind this notice? Underlying object of Section 80 is to provide an opportunity to the government or public officer to consider the legal position and to settle the claim forwarded by the prospective plaintiff if it appears to be just and proper. It is expected from the government, unlike private parties, to consider the matter objectively and make an appropriate decision in 2 months after obtaining the proper legal advice. It saves public money and time and is in public interest. So the basic object behind the Section 80 is that it is in the interest of the public that the government should or the public officers should have notice or knowledge of the action which is to be started or has been is to be started against them, so then they can take a public advice legal advice ultimately because they are the representative of the common people. That's why it is in the interest of both to save the time and money. It is required that they must be aware of that particular suit, and if there is some alternative is available, they can opt that way also to solve out the dispute. The basic funda behind the notice under Section 80 is that it was held in state of Maharashtra versus Chandrakanta. It was observed that the notice must be given in all cases regarding the first class of cases. However, regarding the second class cases, notice is necessary only where the suit is in respect of an act purporting to be done by such public officer in discharge of his duty and not otherwise. Obviously, if the public officer is acting in a private capacity, there is no requirement of the notice. But if he is acting in a public capacity, then the notice is required. In the same way, in state of Madras versus Chituri Venkata Durga Prasad Rao, it was observed by the court that the expression act purporting to be done according to one interpretation, which is strictly grammatical, takes in part acts as well as future acts. The other interpretation, based upon an idiomatic interpretation of the language, is that it would be restricted to part act. Now let's see what will be the structure of the notice. It will start like that: notice of suit under section 80 of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 against the central government. Then Mr. A. Gupta, advocate, chamber number. Mr. A. Gupta means the name of so and so. I have taken here like Gupta. Then chamber number, detail of the chamber number, means to say address of the chamber. Then if it is in Delhi High Court, New Delhi, so and so phone number and all things. Then it will start here on the above upper side of the you can say of the notice. It will be start like that: registered AD and UPC. You will mention the detail. Then in the right corner there will be date. It will start like that: to the secretary, the government of India. I am here taken I have here taken the example of education department, central secretariat, New Delhi. And there will be subject of the notice under section 80 of the Civil Procedure Code 1908. It is important to note here that it is always necessary to mention the department. It is not a right way just to mention to the secretary, central government of India. It is very important to mention the department, because there will be many secretary of the central government. So it is very important to mention very specifically the department. Then it will start the like that: dear sir, under instruction from my client. Then the name of the client, address, and employee in section, when which department he is employee of the Department of Education, Central Secretariat, New Delhi. I hereby give you a notice under section 80 of the CPC, Civil Procedure Code, and state that my aforesaid client intends to sue the Union of India, owing the representing the Department of Education, Central Secretariat, New Delhi, after the expiry of 2 months after the service of this notice, unless relief claimed here in below are granted to my said client within the said period of 2 months. As we discussed, basic object of this notice is that to find out any alternative resolution. So if the remedy has been provided to the person who want to pursue a suit against the government or the public employee, then there will be no need of the suit, and it will save the time and money of not only to the government but also of the public. That's why it is important. So after the expiry of 2 months after the service of notice, unless relief claimed herein below are granted to my client within the set period of 2 months, the following particulars of the nature of the claim, cause of action, and reliefs claimed are given below. Then it will start: name and description will be given, name, then son of so and so, what is the occupation, where he is residing, the plaintiff. Then the cause of action, that is Sri so and so was an employee in so and so section of the Department of Education, Government of India, Central Secretary, New Delhi. He has been dismissed from his service illegally with effect from this and this date. Then, sir, name, then we'll mention the name, was charged falsely for an alleged theft in the office on so and so date and charge sheeted and ultimately dismissed from the service from this date. Then the cause of action for the suit arose on this date of the dismissal, arose on when he was dismissed from the service. After that, what the relief has been asked must be mentioned in the notice. Relief sought for reinstatement of the she means the person who, on whose behalf the notice is has been drafted. Then the next relief, recovery of salary for the period of so and so from means from the time of the dismissal and till the, you can say, action from the government side. If the relief has been claimed regarding the salary as well, then it must be mentioned in the notice. Then in last there will be sign, your faithfully sign of the uh, person with the sign of the advocate. That's all about the notice under section 80. Thank you.